Hi physics class, we're going to start the new unit today. It's circular motion. First we're going to learn about these two ideas, period and frequency. Okay, period is the time it takes an object to complete a cycle. Alright, so for example, Earth, you can think of the period around its axis as 1 day. Its period around the sun is 1 year. Right, so period is a time. For objects moving in a circle, got a little diagram here for you. I got a speed formula, distance over time. If you take the time to be 1 period, so again, capital T is the symbol for period. The time is 1 period, that means it made 1 full cycle, and the distance it goes in a circle is 2 pi times the radius. Okay, so shuffle that around a bit to give you a formula for period. And this is just time equals distance divided by speed, but if the time is 1 period, then the distance is 1 circumference of the circle. We'll use that later. Okay, next I want to tell you about frequency. Okay, it's the number of rotations or cycles an object makes in a time interval. Usually you limit that interval to 1 second, and when you do, when the time is in 1 second, then the frequency has units called hertz. Symbol is Hz. I want to summarize. This is what you should have in your brain about period and frequency. So I want to make it perfectly clear. Period is a time. It's the total time divided by the number of cycles that something made in that time interval. And frequency is the inverse. It's the number of cycles made in time. All right, and then a reminder, if time is in seconds, frequency is in hertz. But since those fractions are the inverse of each other, period is 1 over frequency, and frequency is 1 over period. Okay? Next, I want to do an actual example with math. So check this out. I'm going to say a bike tire makes 5 full rotations in 1.6 seconds. We're going to determine its period. Okay? Period's the time divided by the number of rotations. So that's going to be our 1.6 seconds divided by our 5 rotations. Okay, so I get an answer of 0.32. Oops, except I don't know how to write. That looks a little bit better. The units here just match whatever units of time you used up here. So this is going to be 0.32 seconds. And usually that's what we want. Check it out. If I slide the paper up, I got another question here. We're going to determine its frequency in hertz and RPM. You've probably heard of RPM. It's rotations per minute. Hertz may be new to you, but that's rotations per second. Check this out. I'm going to use this formula, frequency being 1 over period, because I have the period over here. If I do 1 over 0.32, that's seconds. I get an answer of 3.125 that I'll round. Alright, so if the time is in seconds, our frequency comes out in hertz. Okay, so again, the period, this is how much time it takes to go around. So every 0.32 seconds, the bike tire goes around. This tells you that in 1 second, the bike tire can go around 3.13 times. Okay? To go from hertz to RPM, I think if you guessed, you'd get it right. This is per second. Minutes are longer, so there's going to be more of them. Just multiply by 60. I get 187.5. Okay? So just to make it perfectly clear, hertz to RPM, multiply by 60. You may have to go RPM to hertz, and that's divide by 60.